Will you pray with me? Lord, give us your peace. Be present with us and help us to hear your word this morning. Amen. So I want to begin with a question this morning. Something that always comes up around this Sunday for me each year. That is, have you ever loved something so much? I mean, like really loved it. It's your top 3 favorite things, and yet nobody else seems to get it? Is that anybody else? Well, today, my friends, is one of those things. And let me just say, happy Rose Sunday. Today is Gaudete Sunday, Rose Sunday, not as Colin greeted me this morning with Happy Rain Sunday. It instead is the midway point in our journey through Advent. And I hear and I see some of you asking me now, wait, Father Michael, I thought you said that Rose Sunday was in Lent, and it was the midpoint of that day. And you know what? You're right, you get a rose gold star. But there is a second Rose Sunday, because like anything, why not have more beauty and holiness? You'll remember if you were here 2 weeks ago, we had our Advent wreath making, and along with some of those Advent wreaths came 4 candles. What colors were those candles? Purple. Did I hear pink? Jesus didn't pink from the dead, my friends. He rose from the dead. And so on this day, we celebrate that fact as it is Rose Sunday, because Advent in itself is somewhat like a mini Lent. Of course, in Lent, we wear the color purple. It is a reminder that through that penitential season, we're fasting, we're forgiving, we're hoping to be forgiven, that the light of Christ shines through that deep penitential purple and makes a glorious shade of rose. And this Advent being the mini Lent, in the same way, and in some churches continue to use that purple, we still see a reminder that through this midway point of the season, in Bethlehem almost 2,000 years ago, the light of the world came into being, and we should celebrate and mark that very fact. It is a glorious day, my friends, and one that should be some of everyone's favorite Sundays. And while we give thanks to see that light of the world coming into our hearts, our homes, our lives, in some ways, every year around Christmas, it seems to get tougher and tougher to see that light. I know for me, it's around this time that all sorts of twinkling, beautiful lights are out there. I start thinking about, man, did I get all the presents that I need to get for people? And that big, tall Macy's light at Century City Mall shines into my bedroom. And I think, I got Christmas parties coming up. Did I get all the supplies I need? And Jeff Bezos and the Amazon app starts flashing on my phone. Maybe you've had this where you think, oh no, I got to go to a Christmas concert. Oh, I got an office holiday party. Oh, I've got to finish getting the tree, get the gifts, wrap the gifts, do all those things. I need to have the perfect Christmas. And all of a sudden, there's all these lights that we are blinded by, and we miss the true light that we are called to notice and come towards. Our gospel lesson today, in some ways, has something to say about that, as well as why Rose Sunday is the best Sunday of the year. But you may have just heard mention of John the Baptist calling out to Jesus and asking if he is that true light. He sends his followers to go and meet with Jesus. And Jesus doesn't say, yep, that's me. Instead, he does something very interesting. He says, what do you see? Have you seen the lame walk, the blind see, the deaf rise? Why don't you tell me? And then he turns and asks the rest of the people standing there a very profound question, and one that I think we are always needing to ask ourselves on this particular Sunday of the year. What did you come into the wilderness to see? What did you come here to see? He says to the crowds. And my friends, I ask you, in this, our Advent wilderness period, what did you come out to see? Was it the beautiful Christmas lights? Is it the feeling of Christmas cheer? Is it those wonderful commercials and those deals from Black Friday that seem to keep going on and on and on now? The bows or a true light? What did we come to see? And what is God doing in your life right now? One of my favorite questions to sit and look and notice is, what is God doing in my life right now? One of the beautiful things about this Advent season, the creation of Advent as a whole, is it in some way stands in defiance against the holiday season, against the distractions of all that would pull us away from focusing on what it is and what the main thing of this time is. The reason we don't wear red and green, we wear blue and sometimes rose, and we light the candles all around this Advent wreath, journeying through this season, is a rejection of all those things that would distract us to bring us back into that conversation, that moment, that promise of light breaking in through darkness. What is it you came to see? The other piece of this gospel that has always, always become so vivid for me is, remember, John the Baptist is not with Jesus. Instead, he asked this question from a prison cell. And so often I can see this prison that is just dark, one that is damp and dirty and rough. And from it, John the Baptist goes, are you the one? Are you the light? Are you the Messiah? Because you better be. Because I need out of this prison. This is often called the most wonderful time of the year. The most holy, great, Christmas cheer-filled time. And yet somehow so many of us are left in a prison. We know that December is statistically the month with the highest rates of deaths by suicide, the most likely time for relapses, the time in which people feel the most lonely. It is the time in which we miss those who we don't see for whatever reason just a bit more. And at the same time, even beyond that, it's a time in which people realize they're not going to have the Christmas card, the Hallmark movie, the perfect Christmas. And so we leave feeling disappointed, depressed, desiring for more. It's become such, in some ways, an epidemic that there are churches who hold blue Christmas services, opportunities to come and mourn amongst this time of holiday cheer. Now, I don't mean to minimize pain, and I certainly would never want to say this is why or that's exactly what's happening. But I think for many of us, we find and build ourselves our own prisons. We have gift-wrapped chains. We have steel bars of consumerism. We have all of these things that we put up about the different lights that we try to shine and experience, and it leaves us in a place that says, it's not good enough. So why do I love Rose Sunday amidst all of this? It is because it brings me back to that moment and to that charge of what this season, what this time and journey in the wilderness is truly, truly about. It is not the places of the prisons in which I find myself and the prisons I make for myself. It is not the desire to have that Hallmark movie. but it is to meet the most precious and holy gift, the thing that has transformed and can transform our lives in a little manger in Bethlehem. It is a reminder that no matter how dark this world may get, how much I may mess up, and believe me, I mess up, that Christ child, that's this God who created the moon and the stars and the seas and all this beauty before me, has looked at this world and said, something's missing. It is you, and I desire to know you. To come into this world as the most vulnerable, helpless thing, to experience pain, and to not just come to die, but come to live and to know your life and to know you. That is what shines through this morning. That is the promise and hope of the light that continues to shine from that manger in Bethlehem throughout the world for over 2,000 years. That is the light that we find ourselves lighting our way towards to meet this true fact, this true, loving, and incredible God who desires to simply know and love you. If you are looking for the perfect Christmas, if you're looking for an Advent that points and leads to something that is life-transforming, not just cheer-giving, then move past the lights and find and draw near to the true light. What did you come out to see? Come to the manger in Bethlehem and see life and true light. Amen.